Nobody inside the stadium understood it at first. The sudden silence, the way thousands of fans froze. As if someone had pressed pause on the entire world. Because in that instant, before anyone could breathe, a white ball was already rising into the deep November sky. It wasn't just a home run. It was the sound of destiny cracking open. Kobe Kakusai University High had arrived. Swinging not just bats, but history itself. For 21 long years, they had wandered in the shadows of past generations. Never quite reaching the magical Final Four. But tonight, something felt different. Their dugout buzzed with a strange kind of electricity. As if they knew something the rest of us didn't. That first blast over left field. It wasn't luck. It was a signal. But before anyone could process it, the second home run tore into the sky like a meteor, leaving the outfielders rooted in disbelief. Fans jumped to their feet, shouting names. Some with tears already forming. Because they could feel it, the awakening of a sleeping giant. And then came the third. A towering shot so majestic. So impossibly perfect, that even the opposing fans couldn't help but gasp. Kobe Kakusai had unleashed 3 home runs. Each one like a drumbeat calling them back to glory. Each one rewriting a chapter that had been closed for 2 decades. But destiny, as always, had other plans. Because on the opposite side of the bracket, a different storm was forming. Hanamaki Higashi, a team forged in resilience. Famous for producing legends, and carrying a culture of discipline so firm, that even their warm-ups felt like ritual. Their star, Kojo, stepped into the batter's box. In a moment the stadium will never forget. A hush swept through the stands. And somewhere in the far corner, a single drumbeat echoed like a heartbeat. The pitcher wound up. The ball cut through the air like a silver thread. And Kojo turned on it with the violence of a thunderstrike. The crack of the bat was so sharp that even the broadcasters fell silent. The ball soared into the right field bleachers. A perfect, fearless solo shot. The kind that announces not just a score, but intention. Hanamaki Higashi was not here to participate. They were here to conquer. As the innings unfolded, their defense tightened like a steel net. Every throw crisp, every catch cold and precise. The kind of baseball that doesn't thrill. It suffocates. It leaves opponents gasping, wondering how a high school team could carry such relentless composure. And when they scored again, not with a blast this time but with craftsmanship. A bunt so delicate it looked choreographed. Followed by a sacrifice that felt more like a sacrifice of fear. It became clear, they were carving a path to their second straight semifinals. 2 teams, 2 destinies, 1 tournament trembling under the weight of the moment. On one side, Kobe Kakusai, returning from 21 years of silence, with the fury of a forgotten kingdom. On the other, Hanamaki Higashi, the modern dynasty, storming into yet another semifinal. As if guided by an invisible tradition of greatness. The fans in the stadium could feel it. These weren't just wins. These were statements. Kobe Kakusai played like a team starving for redemption. Hanamaki Higashi played like a team refusing to let the crown slip. And somewhere between those 2 energies, somewhere in the echoes of cheering crowds, and the crack of heroic swings, the spirit of high school baseball burned brighter than ever. Every pitch felt heavier. Every swing carried expectation. Even the coaches, usually stoic, watched with hands clenched tightly behind their backs, trying to hold in the emotions of seasons, of years, of dreams, because everyone knew, the semifinals were no longer just semifinals. They were the intersection of history and possibility. The reporters wrote about tactics. Fans shouted about momentum. But the truth was simpler and far deeper. What we were witnessing was youth transforming into legend. Right before our eyes. The players didn't have contracts. They didn't have endorsements. All they had was heart. Raw, unfiltered heart. And the courage to swing at the impossible. When the stadium lights dimmed at the end of the night, and the players bowed, in that sacred, unmistakably Japanese gesture of humility, there was something almost spiritual in the air. As if the field itself understood that greatness had been born upon its dirt. Kobe Kakusai walked off the field, knowing they had rewritten their story. Hanamaki Higashi walked off knowing their story was far from finished. The path ahead will not be gentle. The pressure will only grow. Every pitch will feel like destiny tugging at their jerseys, whispering, one mistake, and everything changes. But that is why these moments matter. Why we watch. Why we cheer. Why a simple game can feel like a heartbeat. Because on evenings like this, when the swings are heroic, the crowds are trembling, and the future hangs on a thin, white ball, baseball becomes something bigger than sport. It becomes hope. And as the lights finally flickered out, one truth echoed louder than every cheer. Every home run, every breathtaking play. Champions are not crowned in the final game. They are born in nights like this. Under pressure, under fear, under dreams that refuse to let young hearts sleep. And somewhere tonight, two teams walked into the future, carrying the weight of every fan, every memory, every possibility. The semifinals await, and destiny is smiling.